1,135 acres, Central Florida, 30 families already building. This is Panoplia Ranch, yet another one of ACT's fully off-grid regenerative communities. In the last video, we took you to Tennessee, where we have Creo Ranch. We showed you why people are going off-grid and why people are choosing ACTs to build their family compounds. Today, we're gonna give you another glimpse at just the scale at which ACT is building. We're gonna show you the first off-grid family compound that's being built as we speak. And we're gonna do a deep dive into the Ranchise Program, which is the economic backbone of every ACT community. This property, with its ponds, wide open space for livestock, makes Panoplia Ranch the perfect site for this off-grid community. This Central Florida ranch has been divided into 100 parcels, many of which have already been sold. 2 hours from Tampa and 2 hours from Orlando, perfectly centered to have access to the city, but just far enough to enjoy the silence and see the stars at night. And things are ramping up here at Panoplia Ranch because the first foundation has already been poured. I'm here with Gary Dohmeier. Gary is the first ACT property owner who's actively building his family compound, and we're here to get an update on his build. So last time we were here, the framing for your foundation was already set up. You had some solar panels in.
Yep.
Walk us through what has transpired since we were last here.
We had the concrete poured, the solar got all installed, and then my plan for today is we're starting to move the camper over to where the power is, because now we won't have to run off a generator all the time. So excited about all that stuff, and hopefully we'll see some more next week, maybe walls.
So you're gonna have fully off-grid utilities, right? And I think a lot of people are aware of like our increasingly fragile power grid, for instance, maybe a bit skeptical about our water quality from, say, the local municipality.
Mm-hmm.
How does it feel knowing that you're gonna have completely off-grid utilities?
Oh, it's great. I'm excited about it. I mean, it's a bit of an investment, but you don't have to worry about the power going out necessarily. It's a great feeling. I mean, you don't have to ever pay a utility bill again. We'll have solar. The water will be a 500-foot well. Septic is a standard septic system. It's going to be gravity feed.
It's clear that this is a super active site. We saw trucks coming in with delivery of materials. What's going on in the next 30 to 60 days?
As far as I know, out in the schedule, the well's scheduled. So the well's going to go behind the shed. So that's going to go in. I haven't experienced a well drilling before, so I don't know if it's a week or a day. I was told 2 to 3 days, maybe for the walls, maybe 4 days. So the walls will be up. Next will be the delivery of the truss package, which is the roofing piece. Probably next after truss package would be they'll put the roof on to get it under roof. And then you may see things like framing and windows and things like that.
When do you expect to move in?
I would love to move in like April. If we can move in before April, that would be a blessing.
A lot of people want to go off-grid, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think when people think about going off-grid, they think of, well, I'm going to buy 100 acres by myself and build my compound. Why would you say it's better to perhaps do that in a community?
One thing is probably trades, the proximity of people to actually do the work. Now, unless you are if you're going to go off-grid and do it yourself, and you have the money, the resources, you'd need a big truck, you'd need a lot of heavy equipment, things like that, and you'd have to know how to operate it. If you do it yourself, I think you would still have to get your permits and stuff, so you have to get those people to come out. So I think proximity to civilization. It's good to be far away from civilization for this thing, because we want to be kind of away from the hustle bustle, but it's also to be not too far, because if you're too far, then you can't get anybody to come out. Mm-hmm. So then that's on you.
I think that's one of the misconceptions people have about going off-grid. It's like, if you look up off-grid on YouTube, everybody seems to be in this DIY, do-it-yourself mindset, but it's actually kind of a limited mindset. Do you feel like there are misconceptions that people have about going off-grid, about starting to create this lifestyle?
You can do it yourself, but you need to be careful, and you need to read, and you need to know what you're doing. If you can't follow directions, or if you're not handy with tools or know the safety protocols, you could, kill yourself. So there is that.
Why did you choose Panoplia Ranch? What was it about this property in particular that was right for you?
The one that was advertised first was Texas. And I think when my wife saw, and she showed me the Instagram, it's like, look at this. This is cool. This is Texas. You believe this? And that was back when we were like, oh, is this real? And I said, well, no, that'd be great. But we just moved from South Carolina to Florida to be near our grandkids and our kid. And I don't want to necessarily move to Texas. It would be great if they had one in Florida. And then the one in Florida popped up. It's like, oh, let's go and see it. So my wife and I and my eldest daughter, we took a little day trip and came down and saw the property. And of course, once you see it, then you're kind of done. All the people that come out here to work, they see it and they're like, this is great.
How is it waking up to the scenery here and nature?
Yeah, you can't beat that. Can't beat that.
So there we have it. Things are heating up here at Panoplia Ranch. But that's just the first home build. Imagine what this place is going to look like when all the homes are built. 100 families, each living on 10-acre compounds, producing their own energy, growing their own food. This is why we call it heaven on earth. It's because God intended for us to live like this. He wants us close to the soil. He wants us living in community. He wants us raising our children. There's another thing that he wants us to do, and that's raise livestock, which brings me to the Ranchise Program. And there's no better person to talk about the Ranchise Program than Adam Parks. First question, Adam. Tell us a bit about who you are and what your role is within the ag ecosystem.
That is a great question. My background is I've been in ag the majority of my life. I grew up on a large ranch in Northern California, studied ag in college, built a business in Northern California, Victorian Farmstead Meat Company, that was a local butcher shop. We eventually got to the point where we were home delivering meat all across the San Francisco Bay Area, shipping meat across the country. So I reached out to Axe, seeing if I could build a processing facility on the Texas ranch to process the meat locally there. And in doing that, TJ Visiode, our CEO, reached out to me almost immediately and said, hey, this is exactly what we've been looking for. And through a number of conversations and everything, I eventually got hired as the COO of Wanted Raw Foods. Upon doing that, I was evaluating the Ranchise Program as it had originally been built and had some suggestions for improvements we could make there. And in a very short period of time, TJ and Kara put me in charge of the Ranchise Program, and I rebuilt it. And now I think we have a program that really, really clearly is defined. It has very deep roots in success from an agriculture standpoint and offers three really critical components to people, in that it is a true passive income business. You don't have to know anything about ranching. You don't have to know the difference between a cow and a pig. You just have to provide the capital, and then you own tangible assets. And you don't own a share of a herd. You own actual animals that are tagged very specifically for you. You will be able to go to the Ranchise Command Center and see those animals. You can come visit the ranch, and I can go take you out on the ranch and show you your animals out on the range. It also very clearly gives you food security, where you have a very clear understanding of what food is available to you as your animals are processed, how those animals get replenished. And it provides, as I said, a passive income, meaning that you get a share of the success of Wanted Raw Foods that is no longer dependent on your particular ranchise's production. And that's a really key component, because it means that you're sharing in the general success of our food company, and you still have access to as much food as you need for your family.
You've spoken to a lot of franchise owners and families who are interested in the program.
Yep.
What is the primary reason that families are attracted to the Ranchise Program?
I think the number one thing has to be food security. And if that's not your goal going into this, then it may not be a fit. It's not a fit for everyone. We're not out here to collect money for collecting money's sake. This is a program that is designed at its very core to provide food security for your family for generations to come. That said, it's also a passive income business. It does provide you quarterly revenue based on the success of Wanted Raw Foods. And I think those two components, if people start there, will find that it provides a really fair, sometimes really good ROI. But that should not be the driving force behind somebody buying a franchise. The driving force should be, I now know where my food is coming from. I now have complete confidence that the food that I'm feeding my family and my guests is 100% clean. It does not contain all the chemicals and stuff that the CAFO operations provide. It is very traceable. You'll know exactly where your meat came from.
So why doesn't DIY ranching work for families at the scale that they need? I think a lot of families, they want to ranch, but maybe they just don't understand the scale that you need to actually make it work. Can you speak to that?
Let's start with the premise that ranching is hard. If you want to make $1 million in ranching, you better start with 4 million. It's a lifetime endeavor. One of the most depressing exercises you can go through is to go online to whatever your favorite social media channel is and look up homesteading. And what you're going to find there is a whole mess of people that have these amazing dreams and amazing intentions to build out this idyllic lifestyle of providing their own food for their family and whatnot. What they don't understand going into it is unless you have staff, unless you have expertise, unless you have somebody that can fill the gaps, if you DIY this, it is 24/7, 365 days a year. And that's a phrase that gets tossed around with any number of different endeavors and, all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, those animals that you acquired as part of your homestead or ranch, they depend on you. My family doesn't eat until my animals eat. What makes ranchising so unique is that you have all the ability to create a homestead, to create a ranch, and don't have to do any of the work. You are welcome to learn about what we're doing and how my ranch hands steward your animals, how we build infrastructure, how we scale a ranchise, and so on. But you get to skip all those steps of acquiring knowledge. You get to skip all the steps of having to attend to those animals every day and enjoy the fruits of the labor without all that stress. I think that's what really makes ranchising super unique.
You and I, working in this company, we know how massive the vision is. And that can sometimes be difficult to communicate with people online. And so what do you want families to understand about what's being built here?
I think the thing that is so critical to understand before you get involved with ACTS is that we are building communities. My goal is not to have 1 million cows across the country. My goal is not to go to a new ranch and build a facility, even though that's a great joy of my job. I mean, my whole life, every ranch that I've run has been somebody else's headache. And so I've had to fix all those problems. It's really exciting for Justin and I to look at a new piece of property like we have coming online in Tennessee, where there is no ranching infrastructure. And I get to build it from scratch. So whatever I build becomes somebody else's headaches 100 years from now. The community is where it starts and stops. Every ranch is going to be incredibly unique because of the people that live there. The amenities that we have on each ranch are going to be incredibly unique because of the people that live there. The people that buy parcels with us are going to drive how we build these communities. We don't have a lot of ranches right now. We've got 3, and that's a lot of ranches for most people to manage. But for us, that's just the tip of the iceberg. But they're going to be very, very different. The people that bought in Texas bought 2 years ago. That community is going to be decidedly different because they came into it never hearing the word Airbnb or Axe Resorts or anything. Florida is a much more vacation central state. And one of the things that I think is really important to note is when you look at the agritourism potential for what we're building here, my belief is that it is incredibly unique in that if you go look up agritourism online and search for agritourism sites, what you're going to find is you've got either dude ranches, which are not ranches in my opinion, or you've got people that are portraying themselves as a farm or a ranch. Perfect example, TJ and Kara vacationed in upstate New York in the spring of this 2025. Stayed at a place that ran $2,300 a night or something. They had like 6 goats and 12 chickens. That was their farm. They didn't serve food that came off of their farm in their restaurant on property, but they were charging these incredible rates because they were agritourism. We will be distinctly different because even if we never put in an amenity, even if we never put in a spa or a community center, all those things we're absolutely going to do. But even if we didn't, we would be unique because we are an actual working ranch producing food. And that alone puts us at the top of the list. Our goal in every aspect of our business is to be number 1 in our category. I can promise you we are number 1 in ranchising in this entire country simply by the fact that we are the only ones doing it. There is nobody out there that is building anything similar to a ranchise. You will see a lot of herd shares and investors and all that kind of stuff. That's not what we build here. And I think if you remember that community is where we start and stop all discussions, that is our guiding light. That's our lighthouse out there that we are trying to navigate around. And it's going to be very unique and different on every ranch, but it should be incredibly rewarding.
Excellent. Thank you, Adam.
Yeah. Thanks, brother.
So that's the Ranchise. It's a decentralized food system that puts families back in control of their most fundamental need. This is what God intended for us. He didn't just want us consuming. He wanted us stewarding land, raising animals, and becoming producers. Land, livestock, children. These were the gifts that God gave to his people. In these uncertain times, we could do far worse than to return to the pattern that has led to prosperity since the dawn of time. We had over 17 families join us at Panoplia Ranch this weekend, and all of them understand one thing. The future isn't in suburbs or cities, and those who take action on this insight will be the ones to create legacy. It's one thing to buy land in the middle of nowhere and build your family compound. It's another thing entirely to do it with dozens of families doing the same thing. Our strength is in our community, and that's exactly what's being built here. Not just at Panoplia, not just in Florida, but in Tennessee, in Texas, and soon across the entire country. In our next video, we'll sit down with the CEO and founder of Axe Decentralized Real Estate, TJ Vizio-Day, to give you insight into how this all started. This is Panoplia Ranch in Central Florida. This is Axe. Take authority, take the land, build heaven on earth.